What is going on? I am Anonmoose on the YouTubes, also known as Zedmot in the Creator Code program. Also on the YouTubes, I suppose. My branding is not the best, I will fully admit. We are on the dev build. You can tell because dev code Zedmot does not work. We have 1,000,000 diamonds. We're XP level 90, and the new update is going to bring us some new things, but our XP level shouldn't change that much because heroes don't give XP. Now, the update should be here now, but it's not, so maybe it'll be here tomorrow, and if it's not here tomorrow, then check back the next day, as so wisely quoted by Mr. Nuno on Discord. There is a command on Discord called ... when, and it says, tomorrow. If it doesn't arrive tomorrow, read this message again. So I'm going to show you some details with Captain Rudero. First and foremost, there was a great question, and that was, can you get Rudero on an unopposed account? And it comes on this island right here, which sadly is underneath this 3,000 cost cloud that I'm trying desperately to draw that goes like across here. So you cannot get Rudero on your unopposed accounts. I have sent feedback along to the devs that it would be amazing if they moved him from there to there. That way unopposed players could get another hero. For those of you who don't know what unopposed mode is, do check the cards above. So unopposed players, no Rudero, sadly, for now. Wish I would have thought of that earlier. Wish I would have passed that along to the devs earlier. But for now, it's stuck in the fresh air land. Now, one more thing about Rudero. There's a bit of a bug here. It's fairly obvious when you're staring at this screen. Wingmen, if we go into the Wingmen info, it says hero level 18 is required, and we are the maximum headquarters level, but there's no ability to upgrade Rudero to level 18. So is that a bug? Is that a spoiler? Is that a teaser? I don't know. All I know is that you can't get Wingmen Rush level 7, but maybe that's only available in warships. I don't know which tick corresponds to which tick on warships, but nonetheless, if we go into info here, there's no other levels for these guys, just for the wingmen. And one quick note about these wingmen, as you can see here, is that their health is fairly decent. It's sitting there at 500 health, and they're doing 210 damage per second, which should, in theory, be affected by your troop damage statues, but we're not seeing any boosts on those screens. And if we look at Rudero, we do see those boosts here. So not sure if his wingmen maybe aren't seen as a troop or as an NPC or whatever the heck you want to call it. Because if we come in here and look at critters, for example, they do have the damage per second boost and the health boost. So don't really know what's going on there with Rudero. And I will definitely follow up with the powers that be at Supercell. But if we look at critters here, like their critters are getting the damage per second boost. So in theory, the wingmen should as well. Anyways, enough about that. Let's get rocking and rolling. And so what we are going to do first and foremost is just see if Rudy can do any sort of decent job of distracting stuff. So we're going to send him up in there. We're going to send some critters, because what I want to do is see if he can have his wingmen tank all of these rocket launchers. Obviously, he cannot stop that shock launcher because it does not see flying things, but it's just very curious to see how he's going to do as far as keeping our Zookas alive. Those wingmen keep popping out. He is constantly making wingmen. So my theory is that maybe, just maybe, he could make enough wingmen that those far out rocket launchers are not a concern whatsoever. So now shock launcher trying to slow our attack down, and we definitely need to deal with them with ground-based critters. But maybe, just maybe, we can send out some of these guys to deal with those far off rocket launchers. So very curious. It seems like he kind of stays back with the Zookas, so you don't get a ton of goodness out of that. So we are going to chalk that up as a nope. We are going to retreat, and now we need to see if maybe, just maybe, he can keep rockets off of bombardiers. You know what? Let's do one more with our good friend Rudy and some Zookas first. Now, what I'm hoping is that he'll be able to keep that back rocket launcher off of our Zookas. Yes, I know we could just BART out that rocket launcher, but that's not what I'm trying to do here right yet, as we send some of those guys out to keep some of our Zookas alive. And now we're just going to shock this critter launcher because I don't want to mess around with that critter launcher. And of course, the laser sees our wingmen, so definitely need to be aware of that, making mistakes left, right, and center. Now, with other troops, there have been obvious answers of which things will work well on operations. With Rudy, there is just nothing that is super duper obvious in this case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to send him on up ahead into about here as soon as that grappler goes down, and then we're just going to send that out and just try to get some wingmen out front as best we can. And of course, they go in the wrong direction, so gonna have to get one more shock out here. Not doing a great job with Rudy. There we go. That is exactly what I was hoping to have Rudy do, is just send those things out front, and he didn't really send them in the right direction, but at least now we can see how that rocket launcher is going to do against them, and they just don't hold up at all. So I definitely thought that maybe his wingmen would work to distract and keep our Zookas alive a little bit, but even as you can tell there with one rocket launcher, doesn't do a great job, and we're done like dinner. So wingmen, definitely a bit of a strikeout there, not feeling the love there, and we are unboosted, by the way. Like, that would be an easy solo with Everspark, probably with Brick as well, and I'm sure you could place Bullet in a way that you could have some fun there, but so far Mr. Rudero is 0 for 2 for me. Now here's the next curious detail. The initial damage does not change with statues. Maybe this is a bug as well. Not entirely sure. In warships, his initial damage, the damage definitely adds up based on your trophies or your bonuses. So if we look at Scorchers, for example, where are our good friends Scorchers at? Right about there. You see like the initial damage and it goes up. And so we are going to try his bombing run, but not feeling like it's going to be very effective. But for the science, we got to give it a go. So we're going to send all of our troops over down here. And I love to free snipe Tapir. It's not the ideal way to do Tapir, but it's a little bit more fun in my opinion. And so I like to send my troops back in this sort of neighborhood, just sending them back and sending Rudy a little bit late. He is fairly quick, and we definitely don't want him to die. And the kind of neat thing here is you're going to get a little bit of extra value, a tiny, tiny bit of extra value as his wingmen pop out of the smoke and shoot the boom cannons. But let's be honest, you're going to lose him. Oh my goodness, we got to stop about here. Otherwise, he is going to be dead meat because he is just so much faster than all of the rest of the things. And now we should be good just to do like a little gappy smoke here. He's going to get back there by himself and just kind of hang out in that corner. And now we just need to worry about these mortars right here. And then we'll send him on a bit of a bombing run in the next little bit. Once we get a little bit closer, we'll send him on a bombing run, and then we'll shock this stuff and just see how much damage he's going to do. Can he take out a power cell? No. So on operations, like, he is just not looking terribly overpowered. He is looking whelming as opposed to, no, he's just looking underwhelming. Like, he's doing nothing here. Yes, he's distracting that boom cannon for like a second or so, but let's be honest here. Like, look at this, not taking out a single mortar. So we are going to have to get back into here. He is not going to do anything for us in the process. And then that back mortar is just going to wreck us because the back mortar can't see Rudy at all. I am giving him an F grade on operation attacks. I don't see a use for him. Now, when Everspark first came out, everyone said Everspark was useless and just could find no good purpose for her. And then universal hack videos started coming out. So me saying that there's no great use for him doesn't mean anything. This is just me in a vacuum trying a couple different operation attacks. If you have suggestions of hits that you would like to see, please do let me know. But do keep in mind that mortars, shock launchers, and other defenses just don't care about flying troops. So yes, he'll distract things like machine guns and sniper towers and probably die to them, but he's doing next to 0 damage, and definitely need to check in to see if his wingmen and his bombing run should be affected, or if they are affected by statues and boosts and things like that. So yes, we are going to get rid of some mortars back here just by him doing his little bits and bots of pieces of damage, but overall, Rudy not the game changer for operations, and I gotta say that's kind of okay with me, because Rudy, operations are basically solved, and making operations any easier, as we saw with the engraver, would not be so great. So Rudy gonna be fun on the main base, maybe. Not sure how many people are actually gonna use him on the main base, but definitely, you know what, let's just retreat here. Let him die, and then we'll do a full boost and see if that bombing run does any damage whatsoever. So let's get back to our statues here. We are going to go like this. We have now got a total of 3 statues boosted up, and let's just do a bombing run, shall we? Spending some diamonds. I saw Code Zmot right there. Let's go see what Code Zmot has in store for us. And now, where can we do a bombing run? I'm going to go to the very... Let's get rid of you, Mr. Boom Cannon. And you, Mr. Boom Cannon. And then we are going to send him up into this neighborhood and just see if that bombing run does anything whatsoever. So bombing run, we're going to send him against that right there. We definitely don't want to deal with the boom cannon. We're going to throw smoke in behind it, just like we do on warships, and boom, that, like, he is doing serious damage here. So definitely getting boosted vibes here, feeling like, yes, indeed, this is doing great things. And we're just going to throw that smoke out there to get his bombing run out, getting some damage out there on that headquarters, and then try to do it again before he's dead, and couldn't get it down, but realistically did a bunch of damage on that headquarters. So we're just going to do it again. That's it. I'm going back in. We are going to try just to drop on that right there. We're going to hit this button right here. We are going to drop our bombing run and throw a shock about there, trying to keep all of this stuff alive. And when Mr. Bullet first came out, you guys were doing full bullet solos, and now we're going to try to do full Rudy solos. Let's get you over into here, out of the pain, and then again onto that headquarters, throwing out the bombing run and doing a fair amount of damage. That's doing in the neighborhood of, I would say, 30,000 damage per drop, and that is way more than is advertised if we scroll over into here. So definitely go do yourself some bombing run drops, and know that the initial damage and the shrapnel damage, we're doing more than that. It's really tough to test. But jumping into Dr. T, threat level 14, you can see that there's 146,000 health there. We're going to send Rudy back in that neighborhood. He's going to take a little bit of fire, but this should be reasonable enough for him to do one bombing run, and he is going to miss. Like, he likes to go long, sort of like our friends the Grenadiers do. But I think if we drop a smoke about there in front of him, and then a smoke back in behind where he left from, we should be able to keep him alive. And you can see that he's done about 30% of the damage on the headquarters. And now we're going to throw another smoke out front, and then another smoke going to come back in behind him, where once he leaves, right about there, and then he's going to keep doing his bombing run, and every time he pops out, he does a little bit of damage. Definitely didn't do all of his possible stuff. Let's just throw a shock this time and see if we can't keep him alive. Let's go like that and like that. And then he's going to come out and do a proper full-sized bombing run, and down goes Dr. T. So definitely getting the boost from the trophies, I think, as has been proven in Warships previously. So probably just a visual bug. I will bring it up with the devs. Hopefully those are the two biggest bugs we run into with this update. Is that simple ability to upgrade being there, which shouldn't be, and the fact that the info details are wrong. So hopefully by the time you watch this, the update will be live and you can test these things yourself. If you find an operation attack that Rudy is suited for, please tell me. Send me a replay. Send me some details. Would love to hear it. Otherwise, keep those comments coming. Keep jumping in and throwing code ZMOT in your shops, even though it doesn't work here. I shall talk to you soon. Thanks for coming in. Peace.